The film begins on the night of Halloween. Halloween is a festival in which people wander after wearing different clothes and masks. We see a boy named Corey who is called to babysit a young boy named Jeremy. Jeremy's parents leave for the party after explaining everything to him. Corey sits with Jeremy and begins to watch a horror film, and talks to him very nicely. But he was a naughty and ill-mannered child. That's why he talks to him in a very strange way. He also tells him that the killer Michael will come here and kill him. After some time, when Corey comes back from the kitchen, Jeremy had disappeared somewhere. After searching for the child for a long time, he finally goes upstairs, where suddenly someone closes the door of the attic. It was no one else but Jeremy, who was joking with Corey. He tells Jeremy to open the door, but he doesn't open it. Now Corey was angry, that's why he kicks and breaks the door. Now, Jeremy was standing right behind the door. Because of being hit by the door, he falls down the stairs. At the same time, Jeremy's parents also came back. They witness all this with their own eyes. The child bleeds excessively, that's why he dies on the spot. Here Jeremy's parents think that Corey deliberately pushed and killed their son. That's why they immediately call the police. Then, on the charges of murder, the police arrest him and take him away. Although he tells everyone that he didn't kill the child. It was just an accident, but no one listens to him. The story from 3 years later is then shown to us after that, where now we are told that a crazy killer whose name was Michael. He had escaped from prison 4 years ago. He had created havoc in a city and killed many people. Michael used to kill people for this reason, because his mental balance was not good at all, and he was not good looking by appearance. That's why he always used to wear a mask. That's why he got fed up with all the circumstances and used to kill everyone. And this is the same killer about whom Jeremy had also told Corey. The people who were killed by Michael include the daughter of a woman named Lori. Now after that day, no one has seen Michael. But after 4 years, Michael's terror in this city has spread even today. Now, we see the same woman Lori, who has forgotten everything and started a new life. She bought a new house and lived with Allison, her granddaughter, who is now a nurse. Often she meets an officer, because both like each other. In the town where she lives, the people there don't like Lori. Often they taunt her, because they believe that Lori is responsible for all the people who are killed by Michael. Here we also see a scared woman, because she had actually become Michael's victim 4 years ago, and he had inserted a tube light into this woman's throat. But somehow she survived. Here we see a big pipe whose way goes through the sewers, and Michael had been living there for the last 4 years. Meanwhile, Corey is working at his stepfather's salvage yard. After the police released him, the police found out that the child's death was just an accident. Corey's stepfather gives him an old bike as a gift, because he was still riding a bicycle. Later, while going home, when he was near a store, a boy along with his friends starts bothering him. They ask him to go to the store to bring alcohol for them. But when Corey refused, they start to treat him badly. They even push him and beat him. Because of this, his hand cuts with a glass after falling on the ground. In the meantime, Lori also comes here. She tells them all to leave Corey and go from here. But they also misbehave with Lori here. After that, they go inside the store. This time Lori gets angry. She takes out her knife and gives it to Corey. After this, he punctures the tire of teenagers' cars. Lori brings him to the doctor's office where Allison works. Allison started liking Corey at first glance. Allison and Corey develop a relationship and later attend a Halloween costume party, where Corey was also wearing a mask. And he was enjoying it a lot. Keeping the problems of his life aside, he was very happy with Allison. But at this party, Corey is confronted by Jeremy's mother. She starts insulting Corey in front of everyone. She even abuses him. And also that you are so bad that you're dancing after killing my son. You are having fun. Corey feels very bad seeing him humiliated. That's why he starts leaving the party. Although Allison tries to stop him, he also leaves after taunting her. Later, the 4 friends come and stop near him, and start misbehaving again. But this time Corey also takes out his anger. He tells the rudest of them, "Your father hates you." Right. Because of this, you take out your anger on weak people like me. Because of this, he gets angry, and he throws Corey off a bridge. Seeing this, they were scared, and while thinking that he might have died, they run away from there. Then someone picks up the injured Corey and takes him to the sewers through the pipe. This was not any other place but Michael's place. Later, when he comes to his sense, he was finding the way to go out from there. But then Michael comes here, wearing a mask. Who holds Corey's neck? Meanwhile, they look into each other's eyes. It seems like they could see each other inner selves. And then for some reason, Michael left Corey alive and sends him out of here as he crawls out of the sewer, where the old man, who had no one in this world, holds Corey. After being surprised, asks him that none has ever come out among those taken inside by Michael. Then how did he leave you? Anyway, after showing him a knife, he begins to send him inside again, and also says, "Get me his mask, now I'll become Michael." But Corey does not listen to him. He attacks him with the knife many times and goes from there. And now the old man dies. He runs straight to his house and looks at himself in the mirror. Now, he is no more the old Corey. The anger and hatred in his eyes for the people of this town has now woken up after seeing into Michael's eyes. When Lori looks out of the window, Corey was there, who was standing just like Michael used to stand. After seeing this, she gets scared. On whom he says that, "You don't worry. I'm just here to meet your Allison." Then he meets her and apologizes for that party night, when he left after taunting her, after which they both go for a walk outside. Now, Allison understood that something has happened to Corey. They go to a restaurant on a dinner date. They are interrupted by Allison's ex-boyfriend, police officer Doug Mullaney, who harasses them both. Seeing this, Corey starts shouting in anger. After this, he goes and sits in his place silently, but he was staring at Corey. Now, after leaving Allison at home, he leaves to the sewer pipe, and he also knew that Doug was following him. He comes to the place near the sewer pipe and hides. Then when Doug comes here, he finds the dead body of the old man there. Later, Corey attacks him and goes into the pipe. Doug had also followed him. Then as soon as he gets in, Michael catches him, but Doug kicks him and throws him down. Now Corey, after attacking Doug, first hits him, and then after holding him, he tells Michael to get up. But Michael become weak, because he has been in this sewer for the last 4 years. So much, so that he was shivering like an old man while walking. Well, now Michael takes out his knife, and repeatedly attacks Doug's chest, and kills him in his own style, which gives him a little strength. Now, Corey had also learned how Michael kills people. Then he goes straight to Allison, and spends the whole night with her. On the other side, we see that Michael has also come out of that place. Lori, who is in a bar, tells her friend that, "I have felt some changes in Corey. His eyes look devilish like Michael's." The doctor comes to the nurse's house, because he was going to take her with him. But when she goes to take a bath, she hears the doctor scream. When she comes down to check, then she sees Corey, who was wearing a mask. He also caught the doctor and repeatedly attacked the doctor with a knife. He was doing this to take revenge for Allison, because this doctor has promoted this nurse instead of her. He was about to attack the nurse, but she closes the door and stops him outside. She immediately calls the police. Meanwhile, Corey, after putting off his mask, and keeps looking at her face. Then Michael comes from behind, who grabs the neck of the nurse. He takes her and puts her next to the wall. Then, after stabbing a knife in her chest, first he pulls her up, and then he hangs her on the wall. Now, when Corey goes to his house, his mother says bad things about him and throws him out of the house. After this, Corey spends the night in that house, where that Jeremy died. When he wakes up in the morning, he sees Lori in front of him, who tells him to stay away from Allison. "It will be better for you, because I realize that you're no more a good person." But he clearly threatens her that if she won't be mine, then it will be terrible. After hearing this, Lori gets very angry, and she leaves from here. After this, Corey calls Allison, and lies that your grandmother has threatened to kill me. That's why we will leave this town tonight. But before leaving, I want to clear my accounts with those who've made my life hell, who did wrong to me. And because it was Halloween today, that's why he first goes to Michael's place, where he fights with him, and after snatching his mask, he comes out from there. After which Michael gets up in his own style, which was clearly indicating that the killer inside him is also awake. Allison starts packing her luggage to go with Corey. Lori makes her understand that he is not a good person anymore. Try to understand this. His way of walking, sitting, and every style has become like Michael. But she doesn't listen to her. On the other side, Corey goes to the bullies' teenagers to take his revenge. Tell them to come salvage yard. He goes from there after putting a scratch on their car. He was in the truck at the time. Then they all follow him and come to the salvage yard of his stepfather. His stepfather was also here, watching a movie. That's why he was unaware of what was happening outside. Outside, Corey attacks a boy's eyes, and from it, blood starts bleeding. And he died there. And after that, he crushes a girl under his truck, and kills the other with a pipe wrench tool and ends his life. Later, the rudest boy goes to Corey's stepfather and asks for help. His stepfather gives him a gun, and comes out after taking the other gun with him. He is surprised to see his son Corey in Michael's clothes and masks. The last boy attacks Corey. His stepfather comes in front of Corey to save him, but he dies after being hit by a bullet. Now Corey catches that boy, and puts a welding machine in his mouth, turns it on, and leaves him like that, and he terribly died. After that, Corey sits in the truck and goes to his house. He comes to the kitchen and takes a knife. His mother, who used to tease him all the time, attacks and kills her. After that, he goes to the DJ of a local radio station, where first he kills his partner, and then to take out his anger, he beats him a lot, and then cuts his tongue, and hits the music tape on the table. As a result, now the songs play on with pauses, after teaching them all a lesson. Later, Corey had to take revenge on only one person, that was Lori. There Allison was waiting for him at Corey's place. But he does not come himself, nor there was any information about him. Lori was quite sad because of her granddaughter's separation. Because she turns against her, then she has an idea. She calls the police and tells them that someone has taken his life at her house, and he is wearing a mask. Then she takes out her gun, and after putting it on her head, she tries to take her life. Immediately after that, we could only hear the sounds of bullets. Now, Corey was near the house, so hearing the sound of the bullet, he comes inside the house soon. Then we come to know that Lori was just pretending to bring him inside the house. She shoots him twice, so that he does not die but falls down. Meanwhile, his granddaughter had also returned home, and obviously Corey's secret was about to be revealed. But he was very clever. He puts the knife in his own neck, and when Allison comes inside, she thinks that Lori killed Corey with a knife, because the knife was also in her hand. She cries a lot after seeing this, and then she leaves. Now, Lori was also sad, and later she hears someone's footsteps sounds. It was no one else but Michael, who came to get his mask back. He first wears his mask, and then Corey, who was still alive, kills him finally, because he fought with him and brought his mask. And now it was Lori's turn. He goes straight and attacks her. In return, she also attacks him, and their fight goes on for a while. But then suddenly Michael catches Lori, and he was just going to kill her, but then she takes off his mask. Now, when Michael was wearing his mask, Lori takes advantage of this and puts his knife in his hand. Because of this, he gets stuck on the table. Then she picks up another knife and puts it in Michael's other hand, and she also hangs it with the table, and she pushed her fridge at him. Because he was completely stuck there, Lori takes off his mask, so we can see his terrible and ugly face. She tells Michael, "I thought you would be a little cute, but you are an ugly, old, and crazy person." After saying this, she cuts his throat. But in the meantime, Michael frees his hand and holds Lori's throat. Because of this, she was going to die too. Meanwhile, Allison comes back and attacks Michael and breaks his hand. Because of this, her grandmother is free. Then she takes the sharp knife and cuts all his nerves. And although he was the killer and was powerful, but he was a human being. Because of excessive bleeding, he died. Then Lori's police officer friend and the rest of the policemen come. Allison says that Michael died, but not completely. Now there is something else to do, after which they tie Michael's dead body to their car. And they take out a rally by taking Michael's dead body with all the police cars, in order to remove all of his anxiety and fear from the residents' minds. Now after doing this, they bring him to the salvage yard of Corey's stepfather. All the people of the town have come after them, And there was a crowd here. Everyone takes Michael's dead body to the industrial shredder. When Allison turns on the machine, Laurie puts Michael's dead body in the machine. Because of this, his body turns into pieces. And now, finally, Michael's game is over. After this, everything was normal. All the people of the town have stopped being afraid. Allison also apologizes to Laurie, and they both happily start living their lives. Laurie was talking with the officer. Now we are shown that Michael's mask is still in Laurie's house. And with this movie ends here.